Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, konnichiwa, ciao, bonjour, hola, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Ken at 10. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. Very welcome to you if you haven't been here before, a very warm welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is Ken at 10, where we discuss the UK property market live every day, because my name's Ken, and it's 10. We're James Alexander Estate Agents, and we broadcast live from our offices in Southwest London, Southwest 16, Norbury, to be precise, which is situated between Streatham to the north, Croydon to the south. So how are you? Hope you had a nice bank holiday. I certainly did. On Friday, I was doing a Homes Under the Hammer thing, which I'll come on to in a minute. But finally, the spring felt like it was here. The sun was out and everything was beautiful. And what a glorious weekend. But the one thing I always find with bank holidays, I don't know if you're the same, maybe it's because I'm old, but every time on a bank holiday, I think, yeah, well, you know what I'd really love to do now is go down the coast. But then I think of that story that I was relating the other day about the guy in the bagel queue, you know, the two runners, and then they get to the end and one guy says, right, 3 bagels. And the other guy says, yeah, but the queue's half an hour. One chooses to get in the queue, wait half an hour for a bagel. The other decides that his time is more valuable than that bagel. How much do you want the bagel? It's a bit like that when you're, how much do you want to go to that beach? Do you want to sit in a queue for 2.5 hours? That's 5 hours out of the day. By the time you get there, you might be annoyed, frustrated. Is it all worthwhile? And that's the question you've got to ask yourself about everything you do, isn't it? Because life is short. You've got to make sure that what you're doing, question, is it what you want to be doing? I'm very fortunate that I found this, and I love what I do. So, it's lovely to be involved with people's lives and helping them move on to the next phase in their lives. Sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's somewhere in between, but it's always a privilege to be in the middle of that and trying to look after our clients in the best way possible, depending on their situation. So I hope your one was good. Hope you did well there and had a nice time. We bought some furniture as well. Garden patio furniture is a nightmare to put together. And our son decided he wanted some friends over for a barbecue. So Maria said to me, the wife, she said, you know what, Ken, don't bother making it. Leave it there. We'll tell them it's a furniture party. So the boys arrived. What's that? We're like, oh, it's a making furniture party, didn't you know? And they put the furniture together for us, about 5 of them. And in the end, I felt guilty. I said, it's all right, boys. You don't have to do it. And they were like, no, we're not going to let this beat us. And they put it all together. So that's fantastic, because I thought my weekend was going to be screwing that thing together and get frustrated with it. So really pleased about that. Apart from that, did a Homes Under the Hammer on Friday morning in Beckenham, and that was an absolute beauty. And one of the things they did there, which is something that I always like now, is in the kitchens where you've got these lovely kitchen diners. One of the things that tends to dominate, and in my view a bit over dominate the atmosphere, is the extractor fan. Quite often they're this big huge thing in the middle of the room, often because the island's in the middle of the room. And nowadays people are using downdraft or backdraft extractors, where they pop up out the unit and then they suck away the gases and the steam from cooking. But the problem is they're not quite as efficient. And what he'd done in this case is a new style of one I've never seen before, which is basically like an upside down Dyson. It's just flat, doesn't pop up, and it's got huge suction, so that when you put your pans on, the steam does get sucked under and then it goes under the floor and gets vented out. Just thought it was quite a clever system. One thing I would say is, though, it's really more for show than it is for cooking. I don't think it's something that you'd think, this is the best way of doing it. I think this is the best way of showing off your beautiful kitchen. Perhaps if you're a really heavy cook, then you might find that the old traditional style is more effective, but certainly more beautiful in my view if you can conceal or hide it in some way. So yeah, brilliant one, that, and looking forward to that one going live. We will let you know when that happens. Now, as you can see from behind me, back to school. The children are back at school. What does that mean? Well, it means for us that mum now, and I say mum because we tend to find it's often mum that drives the search, starts to look for properties because she's got that quiet time and she's away from the children and she's on Rightmove, she's on Zoopla, looking around and looking for the next home for the family. Really great time for that now. The next couple of weeks quite critical for that. So, really looking forward to seeing how the market develops over the next couple of weeks. The other thing is just a couple of little lettings things that I wanted to draw to your attention. One is about CO alarms, carbon monoxide alarms. They are currently not mandatory where there's a solid fuel appliance. And by solid fuel, what I mean is a gas cooker or a gas fire. They're not mandatory with boilers in rooms at the moment, but the government legislation is changing. I mean, we do it anyway, but we always think where you've got a gas boiler, you should have a carbon monoxide alarm in that room. They're not expensive. And really, landlords, if you're not doing it already, just make sure you do, just to cover yourselves. And there was another big decision in the courts over the last week, and that was by, it was Recarol versus Rounsfield. And basically what happened was that a tenant was disputing that the Section 21 notice to quit was valid, i.e. that the notice was invalid because a gas safety certificate hadn't been supplied at the beginning of the tenancy. This went to court and the judges said, no, we agree. And they went to appeal and they said, no, we agree that actually, even though it wasn't served at the beginning, because it was done at the beginning, even though it wasn't given, then the Section 21 is still valid. This went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court held up the appeal judge's verdict, which is very good news for landlords. It means that if you haven't served the gas safety certificate at the very beginning of the tenancy, then you're still able to serve a Section 21 notice. Absolutely critical for landlords. That was really critical. And while we're on the subject, the RICS reports are showing rents are rising continually. Where is the strongest place in the country for house prices right now? I'll come on to that. Knight Frank is saying that it's the end of the boom. Is it? Isn't it? Well, actually, I think here in London, we're seeing a lot of strength in the marketplace. And people thought this, didn't they, at the beginning of the pandemic? Do you remember everyone said, oh, it's going to be quiet. It's going to be the end of the property market for a while. And certainly we thought that it was going to be dead. And the opposite was true. It's really been busy. And I think we're in that sort of situation now. Can it last with interest rates rising, Ukraine, cost of living increasing and everything else? Who's to say? No one really knows. But what I do know is this spring is going to be fantastic. It's a great time to sell your house. It's a good time to find because the supply is improving. So good luck to you if you're looking right now. And if you're looking in our area or you're looking for a buy-to-let investment, do get in touch with us. We're always happy to hear from you. I found a little tool as well, or we've created a little tool, my wife and my daughter together created a spreadsheet which is able to tell you exactly what the cost will be if you're selling your buy-to-let property. And when I say costs, I mean agents' fees, tax, what tax you'll pay, right down to what you bought it for. We plug into a spreadsheet what you paid for it, how long you've held it for, and we can work out what your tax bill will be and what you'll come out with net at the end of it, depending on what your mortgage is. Because remember, what your mortgage is versus what it's worth is not what your tax bill is going to be. Your tax bill is going to be what you paid, less what it's worth now, less some other bits and pieces. So there's a bit of a calculation there to be done, and we can do it for you if you're selling through us. So that's something to bear in mind. And a lot of buy-to-let landlords are taking this opportunity to sell up, which is why we're seeing such big rent increases. On the other side of the coin as well, where's the busiest place right now for property prices? London. London is back and in vogue, I'm pleased to report. And we're finding that the ground is really, the road is really being hit hard by London now, and people are looking in London and the confidence is back. Will it continue? How long for? Who's to say? Certainly this spring period is going to be exceptional. There's no doubt about that, looking at what's coming through so far. And I hope that's interesting to you. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition. Got to work on that podcast. Didn't get around to it the weekend because we had a few bits and pieces, as you might have heard last week. Had a guy collapse in front of me. Managed to get an ambulance to him and everything, but it did prevent me from doing the podcast for the week. So I'm going to get onto that one and let you know when that's up as soon as possible. So aside from that, hope you had a fantastic bank holiday. Now the children are back at school. You certainly noticed it if you're a commuter like me. Then hopefully you can get down to some serious home hunting or serious home selling. If you're having trouble with either of those things, we're here for you. We've got your back. Give us a call, 0208 679 8601, or drop me an email, ken@jamesalexander.com. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and well. Look after yourselves. And if you can, your family and friends. Ciao.